win. Yeah, begin the podcast off with a Modelo opening. Here, buddy.
Here.
To my half-drunk Coke. All right, guys. Welcome to the first episode of Movies, Monsters, and Music. Good thing I have the name pulled up, or I would get it wrong. I get my own YouTube channel wrong all the time, which, by the way, is Chanation Station. That's right?
Yes.
Okay, I got to plug in my YouTube channel while I'm at it. All right. So as you can probably guess, guys, by the title of this podcast, it is about movies, monsters, and music. The people talking about these three topics is I and my friend
Slug.
My name is Chandler Berry, and me and Slug are roommates and are collaborating on multiple projects, one of which is the Movies, Monsters, and Music podcast. I'm not that interesting of a guy, but I live in the house with his girlfriend and may or may not help him with his band, People Are Strange. Would you like to talk about your band, People Are Strange?
We'll keep it short because things are still in the works, but we are a band that is primarily a three-piece. We're currently looking for a drummer. But we are a band that I'd like to describe if the Misfits did Black Sabbath and Venom songs. You can find us on Instagram, People Are Strange Band. It's we're in the shadows, watching the local scene and stuff. But once when we get the demo out, we will get it rolling. All right.
That's all you have to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, with that out of the way, I think we're going to move on to our topics. Unless there's anything else you want to add?
Talking about movies, monsters, and music.
Right, that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You start.
I will start. And we're going to start out strong. I want to start with something fun. Something to kind of ease us into the premise of this podcast. You ready?
Yes, sir.
This is going to be fun. So what I have here is a matchup of different cryptids.
Okay.
Like a 1v1 matchup. It's going to be like a tournament with brackets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably should have had a pen and paper for this, but we're gonna free ball it. Okay.
Got it.
So our list here is the Flatwoods Monster. That's your boy, that's the mascot for People Are Strange. The Flatwoods Monster versus my personal favorite, the Loveland Frog.
That's a good one.
It's a good one.
That is a real good one.
Before we move on to the others, I do want to preface this by saying that I actually gave considerable thought to the strengths and weaknesses of each monster. Right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I know monsters is the second part of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we'll actually dive deep into our favorite movies, monsters, and music after this. Okay.
Okay.
So I know it seems like it's out of order, but
we decide.
Yeah, we're the gods of this realm. We do whatever the hell we want. Flatwoods Monster versus Loveland Frog. Dover Demon versus the Hodag. Now, are you familiar with the Hodag?
I believe I am, but go over it for people who don't.
I barely do. I think now I know what the Hodag is, but I think a fun part of going through these monsters is discussing them through their Wikipedia.
Okay.
Right? So I think to give people more insight, instead of just me telling you what I think it is, I think it'll be better to do research on our own and share that with our audience.
Okay.
Mothman versus Jersey Devil. Both have the power of flight. And the Van Meter Visitor versus the Snallygaster. Now, this is the wild card. These are the rogues of the cryptid group.
I got you. Yeah, you're putting some Alice in Wonderland in there.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, these are wild cards because a lot of people may not be familiar with these. I'm gonna be real. I didn't know what the fuck a Snallygaster was. I knew what the Van Meter Visitor was. I knew what that was. Do you know what the Snallygaster is?
I'm going to correct myself because I originally said I thought it was from Alice, but I'm wrong. I believe that it's a Lovecraftian writing.
Yeah, because when you said Alice, I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking? Like, yeah. I'm not going to correct you live. Like, yeah. I'll let you be wrong in silence.
Yeah. Okay? Yeah. I know a little bit about something.
All right. Hold on here. Make sure the podcast is still rolling. Awesome. Let me get the cursor off the stop recording button. We're professionals.
We're professionals.
Okay, so we're going to do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start with the Flatwoods Monster versus Loveland Frog. These are our boys. This is me versus you. Okay?
Literally.
This is the big showdown.
I'm a robot alien and you're a wizard frog.
Okay. All right. So, since you're the representative of the Flatwoods Monster, would you like to be the one to discuss it?
No, I want to hear your takes.
My take on the Flatwoods Monster?
Yes, what information you've gathered.
Information I've gathered. First off, I don't know what year it was. I know it's in a town called Flatwoods in West Virginia, which I had the opportunity to visit and didn't because I instead went to Harper's Ferry, which, cool place, don't get me wrong, but I want to see Jerry. Would you like to explain who Jerry is?
Jerry is our mascot for People Are Strange. The Flatwoods Monster.
Yeah. They got the Flatwoods Monster, who apparently is named Jerry, to be the mascot for their band.
Yeah.
I think that's really neat.
He pops in every once in a while.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to read an official synopsis on the Flatwoods Monster before going to my actual opinion about what I think about him. Because, believe it or not, he's actually not my favorite. I know that's your boy, all day, all night. But let's read. Let's have a moment to read, okay? Oh, wait, that's Flatwoods, the actual... Not even the town. That's the Flatwoods as the biome. Here we go. All right. The Flatwoods Monster, also known as the Braxton County Monster, or Braxy. Have you ever heard him called Braxy before?
I have, yes.
Interesting. Or the Phantom of Flatwoods.
I've heard of that one too.
In West Virginia folklore, is an entity reported to have been sighted in the town of Flatwoods. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. On September 12th, 1952, after a bright object crossed the night sky. Over 50 years later, some investigators have stated that they believe the light was a meteor and the creature was a barn owl. Bullshit. I'm going to call bullshit now.
It's always a barn owl, but they're always wrong. Always wrong.
With shadows making it appear to be a large humanoid. All right. Let's dive deep here. At 7:15 on September 12, 1952, a day that shall live in infamy, two brothers, Edward and Fred May, who can completely be trusted with everything they say, and their friend Tommy Heyer, said that they saw a bright object cross the sky and land on the property of local farmer G. Bailey Fisher. The boys went to the home of Kathleen May, where they told their story. May, accompanied by three boys, local children Neil Nunley and Ronnie Shaver, and God, this is some hick names. West Virginia, but they're dead, so it's okay. West Virginia National Guardsman Eugene Lemon went to the Fisher farm in an effort to locate whatever it was that the boys said they had found. The group reached the top of a hill where Nunley said they saw a pulsing red light. Lemon said he saw a flashlight in that direction and momentarily saw a tall, man-like figure with a round, red face surrounded by a pointed hood-like shape.
I think it's a light bulb. I've seen them. It's a light bulb.
We'll get there. To your personal take. This is just what they thought they saw, right?
Right.
So descriptions varied. In an article for Fate magazine based on this tape-recorded interview, UFO writer Gray Barker described the figure as approximately 10 feet tall or 3 meters. With a round, blood-red face, a large pointed hood. Yeah, we got that. Around the face, eye-like shapes, which emitted greenish-orange light. That's an interesting color. Greenish-orange. And a dark black or green body. May described the figure as having small claw-like hands, clothing like folds, and a head that resembled the Ace of Spades. It's a good Motorhead song. According to the story, when the figure made a hissing sound and glided toward the group, Lemon screamed and dropped his flashlight, causing the group to run away. The group said they had smelled a pungent mist, and some later said that they were nauseated. The local sheriff and deputy had been investigating reports of a crashed aircraft in that area. That's some Scooby-Doo shit right there. They searched the site of the reported monster, but saw, heard, and smelled nothing. We'll get to why police reports can absolutely be trusted when we get to the Loveland Frog.
Yes. Oh my god.
we'll get
Yes.
we will get there. Thank you. A Lee Stewart Jr. of the Braxton Democrat claimed to have this before the Democratic Republican switch. So, okay. You need to know this for this. Of the Braxton Democrat claimed to have discovered skid marks in the field in an odd, gummy deposit, which were subsequently attributed by UFO enthusiast groups as evidence of a saucer landing. Right? You got that?
Mm-hmm. I got that.
According to former news editor Holt Byrne, newspaper stories were carried throughout the county. Radio broadcasts were carried on large networks and hundreds of phone calls. This is good. This is good. This is really good. And hundreds of phone calls were received from all parts of the country. I bet they were. The National Press Services rated the story number 11 for the year. A minister from Brooklyn came to question the May family. A Pittsburgh paper sent a special reporter. UFO and Fortean writers like Gray Barker and Ivan T. Sanderson arrived to investigate. Now, this actually isn't that long. It goes over the conventional explanations, which of course include a barn owl. And believe it or not, there's actually a committee for skeptical inquiry. This is a real thing.
Yep.
I'm sure you've heard about it. They concluded that the bright lights in the sky reported by witnesses on September 12th was most likely a meteor. That the pulsing red light was likely an aircraft navigation or hazard beacon. This is a lot of stuff that has to work in tandem. You know, these pieces on their own might explain one thing. I don't know if they explain the whole in totality. That the creature was described by witnesses closely resembled an owl, yada, yada, yada. We got that. Now, as an expert on the topic, please tell me why they're wrong.
I can tell you why they're wrong, because like you said, you can't have all of these things working in tandem together. You can't have barn owls flying out when there's meteors and spacecrafts going on at the same time.
Very coincidental.
Yes. I am 100% sure that my boy is from outer space. My man came down in a flying saucer. And he came out. He doesn't have any legs. He kind of just like Porygon. Kind of just floats.
There's our first Pokemon reference. Get ready for a bunch of those later.
Well, yeah, he's got a robot body. He floats like Porygon. He's kind of got these robot arms. They kind of look like the tall ones from Invader Zim, right?
Very good reference. I like that.
Yep. So, and his head is almost like his face, and what his actual head is like a glowing orb, and what he wears is like a light bulb shaped helmet, because from my knowledge of aliens, my man can't breathe O2, so he's got to have his breathing apparatuses going on. And maybe what the noxious gas they smelled was when he opens up his saucer, it's their planet's air coming out. Ooh. Yeah, that's my take on it. My boy comes down to Georgia, man. Every time for practice, he's bringing his fog.
That's very good. Thank you for sharing that. Now let me tell you why you're wrong.
Okay.
I call bullshit. I'm gonna call bullshit 100%.
Yeah.
Wanna know why?
Why?
Because they just made it up.
I know.
You're telling me it's unbelievable that a few kids out in the woods at night in 1952, at the height of sci-fi B movies, aren't gonna make some shit up?
I would say, on the contrary, I think if aliens were watching our planet, that's when the best time to come and be active. Yeah. And I remember we don't have our Jamie here tonight, but I do remember there are at least 3 separate reportings other than the one you read, of other people seeing the creature, but they have different descriptions. slight different descriptions of the same creature in the same area.
That's why it's more unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
The fact that they're not consistent reports. And in fact, if you look it up, now it's just Wikipedia, sure.
Yeah.
But when you look up the sighting of the Flatwoods Monster,
That's the first. That's the one.
it's not just is it the first, it's the only one that matters. It's the only one people look at because the others that follow are not consistent with the original report.
Why I think
Is he a shapeshifter too?
I think why police reports are not always, or reportings in general, are not exactly the same, because I think people can interpret things differently when they see things. And it's not just a black and white thing where you might see red and I'll see orange. I think it's more of what our own mind does when we see something that is not supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Like a Lovecraftian type thing.
Yeah, where you're gonna try to rationalize it in any kind of way you want, whether or not you're believing what you're seeing. You know, I definitely think that it adds to it. It adds to the mystique of the Flatwoods Monster, because everybody has their own personal idea of what it looks like. They all follow a similar design: the no legs, the dome shaped head, and the glowing eyes in the center. They all have the same. They also have the smell that they smell. The smelly smell that smells smelly.
Kind of smelly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they all have those same traits, but they say maybe it's a different color. Maybe the light bulb is a different shape to them, because there's also, you got to take in the lighting. If they're in the woods, it's only flashlights, and if there was a moon that night, there's only so much they can see.
Okay. Very well thought out explanation. And also, they could be different members of the same species.
Yeah.
Why is it the same one in each encounter?
Exactly.
If they came down in the ship, you think he's just going on a road trip by himself? No.
We got little fan art of our boy Jerry. We got him when we do our poster art. I've created my own, like, if I was one of Jerry's, I've got my own colors and everything, and for the band, and we're gonna have them playing our different instruments, and Jerry's gonna be the lead singer. He's gonna be the fourth member, but we're working on it.
And he knows that you've taken his likeness and used it. Okay.
Oh yeah, he came down a few practices. You should have been there.
Oh, is that what that? I thought it was a fog machine. No, and I thought you farted.
No, no.
Oh, okay. That's starting to make a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's the gist of the Flatwoods Monster. It's an alien that floats and has he ripped off Motorhead with the shape of his head. Let's see. Anything else? Any other interesting factoids about the main man himself?
He is in Ocarina of Time. He's in Ocarina of Time.
He is.
He is in Fallout 76.
So is Mothman, but we'll get the Mothman too.
Mothman will be he's one of my boys.
Oh, is he not?
He's in the ring. He's in the ring.
Is he the Holy Trinity?
The sacred ring. I probably have a different triangle than you do, but
go ahead. What's your triangle?
My triangle is Flatwoods. In terms of, like, not in terms of importance or reality. Mine are my favorite. So I got Flatwoods, Mothman, and the walkers that they saw in California, like the Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah.
Ants.
Those are so funny.
Those are my boys.
If you get me good quality footage, I'll believe you. I will believe you 100%. I'd like it to be more than 5 pixels.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
Yeah. Maybe more monsters will come show up to our gigs now that they know Jerry's out there.
Yeah.
He's in the pit.
Yeah. Mothman will come from where is it? Chicago?
He's in Chicago right now.
Yeah. Maybe when you play up there, you can get him to come to a gig, and him and Jerry can hang out.
Hell yeah, man.
Let's talk about
your boy.
All right. My boy, the Loveland Frog. I'm going to start with the article and just tell you what other people say they saw, and I'm going to tell you why they're right. And why Jerry isn't real, but the Loveland Frog 100% without a doubt is more real than all the gods of every religion combined. All right? And I say this as a Christian. I mean it. All right? It's because of my faith that I believe in the Loveland Frog. If you believe in God, there's nothing you can't believe in. I believe
in magic.
I believe in magic. And the young girls. Tell me who sang that. Tell me. Tell me and I'll buy you a beer.
It is a R&B singer.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it is.
Are we thinking about the same song? Not Coke.
I don't think we're thinking of the same song.
All right. The Love and Spoonful is a 60s band. All right. You know who else is from the 60s?
The Doors.
I was going to say the Loveland Frog, but I'd be wrong because he's from 1972.
Yeah. 72. That's the year before Kiss started.
Mm-hmm. 72 is also 1 year before Dark Side of the Moon was released by Pink Floyd. Two different people. So, believe it or not, the Loveland Frogs article is even shorter. Even shorter. So, in Ohio folklore, the Loveland Frog, also known as the Loveland Frogman or the Loveland Lizard Wizard, is a legendary humanoid frog described as standing roughly 4 feet or 1.2 meters tall, allegedly spotted in Loveland, Ohio. In 1972, the Loveland Frog legend gained renowned attention when a Loveland police officer reported to a colleague that he had seen an animal consistent with descriptions of the Frogman.
I'm sorry.
It's something funny.
No,
get it out of your system. Get it
I'm
all
on
out.
your side. Just
All
keep
right.
going. I'm on your side. Just keep going.
After a reported sighting in 26, there's another one? Oh, hold on.
You didn't know that? I told you about it. Keep going. Keep
If
going.
I wasn't
keep
there,
going.
it didn't happen. After reported sighting in 2016, sorry, my whole world just shifted. He had a comeback, bro. The second officer called a news station to report that he had shot and killed the same creature some weeks after the 1972 incident and had identified it as a large iguana that was missing its tail. Bullshit. University of Cincinnati folklore professor Edgar Slotkin compared the Loveland Frog to Paul Bunyan, saying that stories about it have been passed down for several decades and that sighting reports seem to come in predictable cycles. Where's the actual? Oh, here we go. The police report. This is just like with the Flatwoods. This is the only report that matters. On March 3rd, 1972, at 1 a.m., Loveland police officer Ray Shockey was driving on Riverside Drive near the Totes Boot Factory in the Little Miami River when an unidentified animal scurried across the road in front of his vehicle. The animal was fully illuminated in his vehicle's headlights, and he described it as 3 to 4 feet long and about 50 to 75 pounds, with leathery skin. He reported spotting the animal crouched like a frog, before it momentarily stood erect to climb over the guardrail and back down towards the river. 2 weeks after the incident, a second Loveland police officer, Mark Matthews, who's absolutely credible and cannot be disputed, reported seeing an unidentified animal crouched along the road in the same vicinity as Shocking's sighting.
I'm looking at the same article. That's not what it said.
Are you going to fact check me?
No. I'm sure he's credible. I'm just saying it's not in the article.
Oh, he's not?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't say he wasn't credible. I'm speaking for myself. I believe he's a 100% credible witness. Matthews shot the animal, swear to God, recovered the body, and put it on his trunk to show Officer Shockey. According to Matthews, it was a large iguana about 3 or 3.5, I could have said 3.5 feet. And he didn't immediately recognize it because it was missing its tail. Matthews speculated the iguana had been someone's pet that either got loose or was released when it grew too large. According to Matthews, Shockey was shown the dead iguana and confirmed that it was the animal he had seen 2 weeks previously. Matthews recounted the incident to an author of a book about urban legends, but says the author omitted the part that confirmed that the creature was an iguana rather than a frogman. Matthews also recounted the frogman story in 2016 again on WCPO Channel 9. Okay.
Before we start, I'd like you to read the 2016 encounter because I think
Does it add something?
No, I just think it's kind of interesting since we talked about it before, but this is almost like the first time hearing about it for you.
Okay. In August 2016, local Cincinnati TV stations reported that a night of fun turned into a chilling tale of terror when 2 teenagers playing Pokemon Go I came back a lot sooner than I thought it would. Between Loveland, Madeira Road, and Lake Isabella, claimed to see a giant frog near the lake on August 3rd that stood up and walked on its hind legs. It was later revealed to be a local student from Archbishop Moeller High School in a homemade frog costume.
I'm not here to discredit because I believe in the wizard man.
The wizard lizard?
The wizard frog.
Okay. Let me just take a breather. Let me gather myself. And because I think I can, in fact, disprove it. I can actually attest to why it's wrong. But that's not fun. But let me go over why I think it's possible that police officers could be wrong. And I have two stories to tell. Story number one is I forget what year it was, like 2011, 2012. Do you remember when two Georgia sheriff department officers found Bigfoot?
Yes.
You remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Where did they keep him?
Wasn't it like a meat cooler?
It was a meat cooler in the flatbed of the truck, and they told everyone that they had shot and killed Bigfoot. These are two very credible witnesses. They're not just cops. This is the sheriff's department, right? That says that they shot Bigfoot, and they had the balls, the audacity, the gall to not just say they shot Bigfoot, but say they had physical living proof. Not living proof. He was dead. But they had physical proof in a meat cooler.
They bagged themselves a squatch.
They bagged themselves a squatch and then proceed to tell every media news outlet this east of the Mississippi River. And they all come flocking out there to see this alleged proof. And this made waves, man. This made more waves than a jet ski. Like, you should have seen it. They brought every camera guy out here to record this. And you know what they saw in that meat cooler?
What did they see, Chandler?
They saw a very, very not alive costume in this meat cooler. Not just was it the costume, they didn't even fill it with like meat. Like, you know, that's what I would do. I'd fill it with like red meat, bloody red meat to make it look alive. There's no way they get away with this. There's no way, because of course scientists and professors and men of science are going to come down and go the extra mile, because all the cameraman can do is show you, and it's very clearly not real. But let's go the extra mile. So they take samples.
Mm-hmm.
It's fabric. It's fabric. It's not real.
Yeah.
It's a costume. So I don't know what they thought. How they thought they might get away with this. It's very plainly obvious a costume that they had bagged. The squatch they bagged, yeah, it was a costume.
I'd like to pivot off of that. What if they actually did bag a Sasquatch, but because it is a federal offense in the state of Georgia to bag a Squatch, they covered their tracks.
Hold on. Let's yeah, I'll pivot off of that. So let's say that's true. When did the law come to pass in Georgia that you couldn't kill Sasquatch?
It's been over a year since we were at the Bigfoot Museum, man.
Yeah, I don't remember. You can't kill one in Washington.
I wasn't prepared to talk about Sasquatch on the first episode.
I don't think we were prepared for anything this first episode, if I'm being honest with you. It's illegal to shoot Bigfoot. Let's go to this website and see what they have to say, right? They say a lot of unimportant stuff that does not answer my question. I don't know when the law came to pass. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know when this law came to pass, but if it's true that this was a long-standing law that they couldn't bag a Bigfoot in this state, right?
Right.
Is it because they knew the law that they killed a Bigfoot? Was it by accident?
Maybe they were out there, they got scared and just shot it.
Self-defense. It is a stand your ground state.
It is a stand your ground state.
Well, here's a really good question then.
They thought of the guy in a ghillie suit.
Can you kill Bigfoot in the state of Georgia if it's in self-defense? Because if you can't hunt a Bigfoot, that's a law. That's a literal law. Look it up. I swear to God, look it up. You can't kill Bigfoot. It's against the law in the state of Georgia. But can you do it in self-defense? Because it's also a stand your ground state. Think about it. Story number 2. All right.
Right?
Story number 2. I shit you not. I shit you not, guys. Like 2 months ago, I'm driving down the road and I notice an iguana in the road. And when I say iguana, I mean like, have you been to Key West?
No.
They got big fuckers down there. I mean like 4 foot long iguanas. You want to talk about frogmen? I'm not saying that's what they saw, but they saw something, and I saw something. And one thing I saw was an iguana walking across the road, and it was like it was a 5 foot long iguana.
5-footer.
It was a 5 footer. I swear to God, it was a 5 footer crossing the road, and traffic was backed up, not like a long ways. It was like a back road in the middle of nowhere. There's a subdivision off to our right through the tree line. You can see, just houses back there, pretty nice houses, and a few cars were stopped up behind us. And people were getting out. Everyone's obviously confused. There's a 5 foot iguana crossing the road in the state of Georgia. Now I've seen black panthers in Georgia, wild. I've seen them. They're real. That's another topic for another day. And I've seen weird animals that don't belong in this state. But one of those animals that you definitely don't see crossing the roads in a temperate forest area is an iguana.
A 5-footer.
A 5 footer iguana with big Godzilla spikes on its back. And people are getting out and questioning, obviously, why the hell there's an iguana in the road. One of these people, however, is not questioning anything. She knows. She knows what this is. She has seen this iguana because this iguana is a local legend. Not in a cryptid sense, but in a Facebook sense, because this is like a 50-year-old, midlife woman, and she spends a lot of her time on social media, and
as
a lot of white middle-aged women do. And she saw this iguana on a Facebook post. Apparently, someone had been missing an iguana.
Wow,
it's a pet, and she immediately is like, "We need to find this person." Like she looks back on the Facebook page, finds the number, calls her, and lets her know. And me, her, and my mother drive up there. And get this, it's the neighborhood, it's the subdivision right there. The iguana crossed the street and had been missing for a week or two in that little patch of forest. So don't tell me that, like, oh, if there's something out in the woods, someone would have found it already. No, this thing was gone for like a week or two, hiding in the woods right next to a very heavily populated area. And yes, it's a back road, but there's enough traffic to notice. So it's a heavily trafficked area. There's a subdivision right here, a well-to-do neighborhood, very affluent types that live there. And speaking of affluent, when we actually get to this lady's house, the lady who owns this iguana, she doesn't just own an iguana. She owns dogs, cats. She has a fucking menagerie, a zoo up in her house. She has every animal you could think of in the animal kingdom.
Kiwis.
Honestly, I don't know. I'll send you a link to her Facebook page. You can ask her yourself. She's got every God-made creature on this planet inside her house.
She's Noah.
She's building an ark. She's building an ark right there in that neighborhood. God love her. She probably needs to. That flood's coming soon, the way things are going. But yeah, we returned the iguana. And the point of this story is the fact that it sounds silly that cops can misidentify an iguana. What the hell is an iguana doing on the side of the road? And I'm telling you, this is like a personal experience testimony. I saw an iguana cross the road, hold up traffic, and then had to take it to the owner who lived in Noah's Ark. It's just one of these batshit insane stories. It's like, that you're making that up. That's not real. No, this iguana was living in the woods.
This is just one of your stories, man.
It was living in the woods for weeks. Like at least 2 weeks. I swear. I saw it.
So, as you know,
okay,
my parents are from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
They know where Loveland is.
They know what the frog was.
They have no clue what the frog was. and they had never even heard of the musical they made about him. I can tell you right now, I don't believe them. I believe in the wizard.
Black Sabbath wrote a song about him.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. First album.
Now, all that to say, I still believe in the Loveland Frog. I still believe.
As I do.
But I have to give credit where credit is due and bring forth the notion that is there a possibility that he's not real? Of course, everyone is going to tell you he's not real. But that's no fun. We like to have fun here.
When you go down the list, everybody says it's not real.
Yeah, all these they're very, very incredulous, and I understand that. I want to point out why, from personal experience, that even I could discredit it. I have reasonable doubt to cast suspicion on the idea. Because I've seen wild iguanas on the side of the road. I've seen it. That's how I can tell you. But I still believe. And I think that's the true mark of faith, is having proof to the contrary and still believing. And so my first story about the cops is to simply shed light on the fact that not all cops they don't always tell the truth. So already, just because these cops in Loveland say they saw a wizard frog, doesn't mean it happened. They could have just lied, even though these were two separate cops, two separate incidents, but maybe they knew each other and collaborated. It's possible. And then I saw a wild iguana, not even wild, it was a pet that escaped. So, all that to say, I still believe. Let's do a matchup. Your boy versus my boy. All right out the gate. As the representative, what do you think the strengths? What does Jerry bring to the table that my frog does not? You want to play Pokemon? Let's play Pokemon.
Levitation.
Okay.
Aircraft. A poisonous fog. Noxious fog. Excuse me. Most likely intelligence. Of a higher intelligence than our own, if he's able to create spacecrafts and pilot them to land in a dense forest and only have maybe 3 people see him. That's going to make a lot of noise, and only 3 people saw this man. I think that a flying saucer alien is more likely. Not saying that I don't believe in the Loveland Frog, because I do. I think a flying saucer robot alien is more likely than a big ass frog in a wizard costume. But I do believe in the wizard.
He was not wearing. I don't want to correct you or anything. He was not wearing a wizard costume. He had a wizard hat on, like Mickey Mouse in Fantasia. Maybe he was a fan. I don't know.
Okay.
Disney merchandise is a dime a dozen. Who knows? We don't know. But you know something I do know? He's a wizard, Harry. And you know what that means?
Yeah.
All right. You give a whole list of all his strengths and powers, right?
Right.
Here's the strength and power of the Loveland Frog. He's fucking magic.
All right.
He's a wizard.
That's fair.
He's a literal wizard with magical powers.
I concede.
You concede?
I concede.
So is that our first victory?
Yes, the point goes to Chandler. I concede.
Your science is no match for my God. That's where we're at.
That's not what I concede to. I concede to
Are you
wizardry.
Are you not converted to the Abrahamic faith because of my belief in the Loveland Frog?
No.
If magic is real, how come?
We're gonna work on it.
We'll get there.
We'll see.
We'll see.
By the end of the podcast,
you'll be a bona fide Christian. I will baptize you in the name of the Loveland Frog.
You'll baptize me in the leaking ceiling.
They don't need to know that. They don't need to know our house problems.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. Let me actually do this right. Flatwoods 0, Loveland 1. So I'm going to put the victor as the Loveland Frog. Why? Because magic.
Magic.
Dover Demon versus the Hodag. I'm gonna let you choose which one you want to talk about. Which one? Who are you representing in this fight?
I will be representing the Dover Demon.
Okay. I will let you pull up your information, whatever you need.
Okay. Would you like me to go first?
I would.
Okay.
Very, very curious.
The Dover Demon is a creature reported sighted in the town of Dover, Massachusetts on April 21st and April 22nd, 1977. A 17-year-old William Bill Burlett claimed that while driving on April 21st,
The cat's trying to get into our bucket. Don't ask why we have a bucket.
hold on.
Hold up. Hold up.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get him out of here.
Fuck out of here.
Look, I want wet pussy in this house, but that's not the kind. So, actually, speaking of monsters, there's a hole in our ceiling leaking water into a bucket. And Trevor, the house cat, has decided to take a swim. However, moving on.
17-year-old William Bill Burlett claimed that while driving on April 21st, 1977, the same year the Misfits formed.
And A New Hope came out.
And,
Well, it was episode. They didn't call it that yet.
okay.
Star Wars.
He saw a large-eyed creature with tendril-like fingers and glowing eyes on top of a broken stone wall on Farm Street in Dover, Massachusetts. 15-year-old John Barks reported seeing a similar creature on Mill Hill Road the same evening. Another 15-year-old Abby Barham claimed to have seen the creature following the night on Springdale Avenue. The teenagers all drew sketches of the alleged creature. Bartlett wrote on his sketch, I, Bill Bartlett, swear on a stack of Bibles that I saw this creature, according to the Boston Globe. The locations of the sightings plotted on the map lay in straight lines of over 2 miles. Some suggest that the creature may have been a fowl, a newborn elk or moose calf. Police told Associated Press the creature reported by the teenagers was probably nothing more than a school vacation hoax.
So when you swear on a bunch of Bibles, does it matter if you're Christian or not? Because what if you're just not Christian?
I've had as somebody who's not, I have sworn on a Bible a couple times.
I know. So I think that particular fact doesn't matter.
In 2009, the Dover Demon was featured on an episode of American horror TV series Lost Tapes, which aired on Animal Planet. The Dover Demon appeared as a creature in the American comic book series Proof, which features various other creatures of cryptozoology. In the comic, it is a creature able to see into the future. It appears in another series of comics called the Perhaps-a-Knots. The Dover Demon would further make brief appearances in the comic books The Pound, Ghoul's Night Out, The Hack/Enter the Wound, and a Dover Demon will appear in the webcomic Gunner Craig Court. So, why I believe that the Dover Demon is real. Not only do you have, I mean, they're kids, but when you see something scary, you're gonna try to imagine different scary attributes of it. But at the end of the day, what they saw was a gray. They saw a gray alien.
Yeah, he will attest to his dying breath that they saw a gray alien.
You know, you could also say it's the rake, but I would claim more that it's a gray alien.
How do we know the rake isn't a gray alien?
That's a different time for another day.
I think that should be the conspiracy of the week. We'll save that. You know what? We'll bottle it and shelve it, and
we'll come back to it.
We'll let it age.
No, like a fine whiskey.
We'll come back to it.
I think it's a gray. I don't believe the other questions that of it being a fowl or an elk or a moose, and I especially hate the other two that they said it was. They either said it was an escaped albino monkey or
Yeah,
ape
it's so stupid.
and a barn animal. It's always a barn animal. I disagree. I disagree. But
Now, I've told you about escaped animals before. And while like I think it is silly that an albino monkey, it sounds goofy, but so does an iguana crossing the road in the middle of Georgia, where we are. What's he doing?
my
Sorry.
dog is flopping his ears. That's what he's doing.
Your dog is a cryptid. His biology be making no damn sense. Wagging his tail up and down like he's
Up and down.
like a whale.
His tail is shorter than it needs to be. And don't tell him I said this, but his sack's on sideways.
That's not the only thing on sideways. Look at the guy.
His lazy eye. Anyway.
Yeah, he's a swamp dog through and through.
Yeah.
Do.
Louisiana Catahoula.
All right. So yeah, I don't discount the fact that it could be a monkey, sure, but going back to the kids, the fact that kids saw it, right? A lot of these happen to be very young people, whether they're actual children or teenagers or young adults. I don't know about you, but growing up, I was obsessed with what was that show, Monsters Unleashed? You ever watch that?
I think so, yeah.
I love Lost Tapes. Lost Tapes. You've watched Lost Tapes, right?
I have watched Lost Tapes, yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that later because that's a very good show. I'm a fan of it. It probably doesn't hold up as well today.
Windigoon did a video on it.
He did, and God, I hope Windigoon listens to this podcast.
No,
Could you imagine?
he's not.
Could you imagine? Whatever. So all that to say, I was a big fan of cryptids and monsters to the point where I wanted to make my own. This is kind of where I got my filmmaking start. I went, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Listening.
No, stop distracting me with whatever the hell that is. So
I am listening.
Big problem with me wanting to go out in the woods with a camera and create monsters. I was obsessed with hoaxing something, and I told my parents over and over, come out, can you guys fund my hoax? I want them to give me money so I could go out in the woods and just film shit. And then pawn it off as real. And I was obsessed with this for years. I wanted to do it. I'd go out to Tribble Mill Park and pretend I saw Bigfoot. And I was the kid. I was the kid who cried Bigfoot. I wanted to make up monsters and make people believe it. So I know if that's true for me, what's stopping someone else from wanting to do the same? Their love for monsters, and especially when sci-fi movies are very popular at this time, 50s through the 80s, sci-fi horror is very, very prominent, way more than it is today.
79 was Alien.
You're right. 71 was Alien. And people are obsessed with monsters. People are obsessed with seeing one, making one. They want to live that fantasy. And having been that person, I can't say just because some kids went in the woods and saw a fucking Dover demon that it's real. Excuse me, on the side of the road. They were driving. It's very quick, too. It's very quick. You're driving down the road. You don't know what you saw. I see crazy crap at night driving down the road at 3 o'clock in the morning. I see some wacky stuff. It's quite possible it was just a misidentified animal. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to, yank your chain and tell you I think it was an albino monkey. But that's neither here nor there. Now, let's go to the hodag, which is a cool name. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's read. In American folklore, the hodag is a fearsome critter. And I will say this again. It says it right here. It's actually a link. What happens if I click it? There's a Wikipedia article for fearsome critters. What the hell is this? What is that? What the hell am I? Okay, that is a whole rabbit hole. What the hell?
Stay focused.
There's a Wikipedia article for the fearsome critters. Okay,
Milo's on that list.
he is. I'm about to add Trevor to that again if he starts interrupting our podcast. The hodag is a fearsome critter resembling a large bullhorn carnivore with a row of thick curved spines down its back. The hodag was said to be born from the ashes of cremated oxen as the what does this say? What is that word? As the incarnation of the accumulation of abuse the animals had suffered at the hands of their masters. Getting very spiritual with this one. The history of the hodag is strongly tied to the city of Rhinelander, where it was claimed to have been discovered. The hodag has figured prominently in early Paul Bunyan tales. It's interesting that Paul Bunyan has been mentioned twice. Is Paul Bunyan a cryptid? This is the second time he's been mentioned. And I'm just like, why? Get out of my cryptid stories, Paul Bunyan. Keep folklore and cryptozoology separate. The blue ox. The blue ox is a cryptid. Paul Bunyan is not. People can't be cryptids. Except maybe like Michael Jackson, but that's like about it. In 1893, newspapers reported the discovery of a hodag in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. So the hodag is a Wisconsin original representing. The articles claim the hodag had the head of a frog, ooh, the grinning face of a giant elephant, ooh, thick short legs set off by huge claws, ooh, the back of a dinosaur, and a long tail with spears at the end. The reports were instigated by well-known Wisconsin land surveyor, timber cruiser, and prankster, that should be noted, Eugene Shepard, who rounded up a group of local people to capture the animal. The group reported that they needed to use dynamite to kill the beast. A photograph of the remains of the charred beast was released to the media. It was the fiercest, strangest, most frightening monster ever to set razor-sharp claws on the earth. It became extinct after the main food source, all white bulldogs, became scarce in the area. It ate white bulldogs, only white ones. I don't know if he was racist or what, or why just bulldogs in particular, but it's extinct, and it's a damn shame because now we can't prove it ever existed because Mr. Eugene Shepard, acclaimed timber cruiser and prankster, is also dead, I think. I would hope. I don't think if this happened in 1893, I don't think he'd still be alive.
He's a vampire.
I'll keep going. I'll keep going. Because the point of this isn't to disprove anything or prove anything, contrary to how I may be speaking. I just like looking at both sides. Shepard claimed to have captured another hodag in 1896. I'm sure he did. And this one was captured alive. Shit you not. This one was alive, Alex. Sit down.
Whoa.
According to Shepard's reports, he and several bear wrestlers placed chloroform on the end of a long pole, which they worked into the cave of the creature where it was overcome. He displayed this hodag at the first Oneida County Fair. Wisconsin folk can correct me on my pronunciation. This is y'all's boy. The hodag's all yours. You guys can keep him. Thousands of people came to see the hodag at the fair or at Shepard's display in a shanty at his house. Having connected wires to see it, Shepard would occasionally move the creature, which would typically send the already skittish viewers fleeing the display. As newspapers locally, statewide, and then nationally began picking the story up of the apparently remarkable living creature, a small group of scientists from the Smithsonian Institution of Washington, D.C., announced they would be traveling to Rhinelander to inspect the apparent discovery. Their mere announcement spelled the end, as Shepard was then forced to admit that the hodag was a hoax. So unfortunately, at least the second time around, it was proven to not be real. We don't know about that first encounter. Maybe he was inspired by the first encounter to make the hoax. We'll never know because it went extinct because all the bulldogs in the area died because they ate them all. We're not here to disprove or prove anything. I think he's neat. I think he's cool. I like him. He's in the matchup. Who's winning?
I feel like So far, it's been our two lows versus each other, sci-fi and fantasy.
Yes,
I
that's
feel
a
like
very good option because that's the point. I'm glad you picked up on this. If you guys aren't aware, Slug here is a big fan of sci-fi, and I love fantasy. Not so much in my movies, more so in my reading. As far as horror is concerned, I'm not the biggest fan of sci-fi horror. I like movies like The Tingler or that movie of the psychic crabs. Good stuff, but it's not my forte. But for this list, I chose something I knew he would love. Put,
I'm the original Day the Earth Stood Still, 79 Alien, freaking Plan 9 from Outer Space is
it's not
so
that bad.
good.
It's not bad.
It's so good.
He made a
This
movie.
Island Earth, the original Fly, all that good 50s, 60s, 70s sci-fi films are just my bread and butter.
I don't want to dwell on it too long, but Plan 9, though, it's like people call it the worst movie ever made. Have you seen that movie where it's just like the camera zooming in on a wall for like 3 hours or something like that? Have you seen that?
No.
It's an art piece. They make film students watch it. It's a film where the camera zooms in at a wall, and it's not even like a clear picture of a wall. It's not decorated. It's very just. Also, like right before the movie ends, a guy like walks in the frame and dies, and like the rest of the movies, the camera doesn't stop; it just keeps zooming in. It's very like, but people at least Play 9 has a story. It's not good. The acting's terrible,
It has
but he made a
Bela
movie.
Lugosi and Vampire in it.
Technically, Bela Lugosi died before his actual. Ed Wood took footage that Bela Lugosi filmed himself for a different project and put it into the movie. Bela Lugosi didn't know he was in it. He didn't know that was gonna be his last starring role. He didn't know he was filming footage for a movie he would be dead for. He didn't know that.
You didn't know that.
Anywho, Ed Wood, he
Love
made
the
a
guy.
movie. You make
Love
a
the
movie.
guy.
Yeah, you make a movie. I want to see you try. All right, back on point. Hodag, Dover Demon, who's winning? I want you to give your case.
Dover Demon not only has not been proven to be false, but he is apparently quick. He's been spotted 3 times going in what is to believe the straight line, and it's not only just quick, but if only 3 people saw him and he was going in a straight line, he's probably a little stealthy too. Only 3 people saw him. Also, it's not uncommon that when sightings are like this happens, that they'll jump to literally anything but aliens. Because you look at any Gray's encounter, they say that it's this, they say it's that, they say literally anything. I think why the Dover Demon is more believable is because of how believable on a surface level aliens are, if in compared to a hodgepodge fantasy idea of a cryptid that you take different parts of a creature and put them together, which is cool. I just think that it's a full body, solid gray with red eyes and has talons. And according to one publisher, a comic book he can see in the future, but that is not confirmed. I haven't talked to him myself, but I think aliens are more believable than fantasy monsters.
I'm not entirely sure if that's a hot take, to be honest with you. Have you seen the movie Tusk?
We've talked about it.
Giving you a curveball. Have you seen Tusk?
No.
The Kevin Smith film?
Yeah, I'm very aware of it. We've talked about it before.
Okay. For the audience who may not know, Kevin Smith of Clerk fame, or what's that? Jay and Silent Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mallrats.
Mallrats. His Clerk cinematic universe. He made a horror film called Tusk, in which he turns a man into a walrus. Now, I know you haven't seen it. You want to, and this is probably a movie spoiler. So I'm going to clarify that now. This is a spoiler. Skip ahead the next 2 minutes so you don't have to hear it. The reason he turns the man into a walrus is because this guy had a traumatic experience where he was shipwrecked. He was marooned on this piece of rock that was jutting out of the ocean during a storm. And his only companion during this time on this rock was a walrus. And he grew very attached to it, almost like Tom Hanks, and I almost said Tom Cruise. Tom Hanks with Wilson in Castaway. It was like his buddy. It was his friend.
Sorry, Wilson.
And this guy was very sorry. Because do you want to guess what happened to this walrus?
He got killed.
Yeah, by him, because he ate him. Because this is a piece of rock, there's no food. So he killed his only friend. His only companion. He killed him and he ate him. And he was so traumatized by the event of having to kill this walrus that later in life he fantasized, dreamed of the day he could be reunited with his walrus friend. And so he lures this journalist out there with this story, and he drugs him and knocks him out and stitches his body into an amalgamation of parts that resembles a walrus, just so he can have his friend back. So that's the plot of Tusk. It's pretty gnarly. It's very disturbing, and if you like Cronenberg stuff and body horror, it's definitely a must see. You a fan of Cronenberg? You could. Yeah.
No.
This is Willow. She's going to be on the podcast. Also, she's our fact checker.
She'll be in and out.
She'll be in and out. She's here. She hasn't been here the whole time, but she's in and out, and she's great. You'll get to see more of her later. So that's the plot of Tusk, and the reason I bring Tusk up is because it's the idea that a man was so traumatized by something that he would try to recreate it. I want to posit the idea, the notion, so to speak, that mayhaps that this shepherd guy, this Eugene Shepherd of Hodag fame, perhaps he did encounter the Hodag in Wisconsin. It was so traumatized by this that he tried to recreate it. Maybe it's a hoax, but it's a hoax recreated in the attempt to relive his encounter with the Hodag that he truly did see. That's my theory. Perhaps even the Hodag is an alien. And that's why we can't find him anymore. He came down, ate all the white bulldogs, and then yeeted out of here. And maybe even came down with the Flatwoods Monster. Who knows?
Don't bring Jerry in this.
Don't bring Jerry into this.
Jerry had nothing to do with that, man.
The Hodag was on the
his
whole
own thing.
Yeah.
He's doing his own thing.
All right. So, who's winning? Who's winning?
I don't concede.
You're not conceding to the Dover Demon.
I'm not conceding to
The Hodag?
Yeah.
Well, how can you lose to something that's not real?
Yeah. So
Because,
the Dover
like-
Demon gets the point.
Because on the simple fact that it has been proven that the Hodag isn't real?
Yeah, the last thing was a hoax. So I would say that because the Dover Demon has not been proved to be false, the Dover Demon gets the point, which means I get my first point.
Yeah, we're not rating them on who's cooler. The Hodag, objectively, is cooler. Right, Willow?
I have no say in this. I choose silence.
You plead the fifth?
I plead the fifth.
Plead the fifth. Okay. So, I can't argue with you. Because it's not real, I can't offer any reasons why it would win. So, point, Dover Demon. This isn't like a I win, you win type situation. Our say matters very little. This is all objective fact. This is all just science.
Science, bitch.
Mm-hmm. Which reminds me, are we still watching Breaking Bad later?
Yes.
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 Righteous. Okay. Okay, this is your boy. You ready?
Yeah.
This is your boy. This is Mothman versus the Jersey Devil. I get excited, get pumped.
Sci-fi and fantasy at it again.
It's crazy. It's almost like I planned this. Almost. Go ahead, buddy.
I need to.
Yeah, pull it up. Pull it up. I almost went with Owlman instead, but he's not. He's not American.
He's British.
He's British in it.
British
So
people don't exist.
I have never seen one. Therefore, I can confirm nor deny. I have a higher likelihood of seeing the Mothman than I do a British person.
Would you like to read it?
Would I like to read it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, let's hear that silky smooth voice.
All right, let's see.
So you're gonna start. You're gonna read this, and then that.
All right. In West Virginia folklore, the Mothman is a humanoid creature reportedly seen in the Point Pleasant area from November 15th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. The first newspaper report was published in the Point Pleasant Register, dated November 16th, 1966, titled "Couple See Man-Sized Bird Creature Something." The national press soon picked up the reports and helped spread the story across the United States. The source of the legend is believed to have originated from sightings of out of migration. It was first seen November 1966. Other names: winged man, birdman, UFO bird, Mason bird monster. Country is the United States, and once again, the region is Point Pleasant, West Virginia. The Mothman was introduced to a wider audience by Ray Barker in 1970, and was later popularized by John Keel in his 1975 book, The Mothman Prophecies, claiming that there were supernatural events related to the sightings and a connection to the collapse of the Silver Bridge. The book was later adapted into a 2002 film starring Richard Gere. An annual festival in Point Pleasant is devoted to the Mothman legend. Pleasant? Yeah.
Point Pleasant.
Point Pleasant, and that's all it says.
All right, so we can talk a little bit about. So yeah, there's a spotting in Point Pleasant, and newer news, he has been spotted in Chicago, Illinois, on separate occasions. I believe there has been 3 sightings, and the newest one was 2018, I believe. And he's got a bunch of festivals in the city of Point Pleasant. He has his own statue. There's a Mothman museum and everything.
I wanted to see it so bad.
And one of the sightings was in a local mine shaft. These kids were going on a school field trip to this mine shaft in Point Pleasant, and they swear that they were walking up to the entrance of the cave, and Mothman just comes whoosh, right above them.
It's true.
Yeah,
That's what they saw.
I believe in Mothman because I believe that this is an alien. I believe that he is some flying alien. I don't think it's one of the 3 big ones. The grays, the tall ones, or not the tall ones, but they look like they're from
Invader Zim.
No, they're like from the Clone Wars.
The
Camoans.
Camoans?
Yeah, no,
Camino.
Caminans. Whatever.
We're not Star Wars.
They're from
fans.
Camino. Okay, this is not a Star Wars podcast, but
James would love it if it was.
anyway, so you got the grays, which is the regular little gray man. You've got these really tall aliens that people have seen, and for some reason, people have seen these blonde, like
Bimbos.
no
Damn it.
Viking-like aliens
Okay, that's
where they
cool.
have really long blonde hair and they've got like leather clothing. So I don't think Mothman is one of the three.
You don't think he's a space Viking?
Or no, it's the Space Vikings a little different. So it's the Tulls, the Greys, and the Reptilians. Those are the three big ones. The other one is it's a hollow Earth theory, but
We'll get there.
we'll get
Oh,
there.
buddy,
Yeah,
we'll get
yeah,
there.
the blondes are a hollow Earth thing. Sorry. So you got the Greys, the reptilians, and the Tulls. So I think he's a different alien. I think he's more of. I don't think he's like how he's normally depicted as like a wyvern-esque alien where his hands are his wings. I really think that he has little tiny hands with the giant owl-like wings. I think it's believable that he's an actual alien.
Did he fly through space, or did he come in on a spacecraft?
I have no clue.
Did his spacecraft crash, and that's what destroyed the bridge?
I don't think he's a harbinger of doom. I think it was wrong place at the wrong time.
They're out to get him.
My man has done nothing wrong.
He's framed.
And the best part is why I think it's more believable. It's because he's been seen in different states.
Okay.
He's been seen in West Virginia. He's been seen in Chicago, Illinois.
You rest your case?
For the moment.
Please butt in if you have any interesting information to add about your boy. I do want to say a little something. I just think he's cool. I do actually love the harbinger aspect of him. That he's a supernatural entity. I know you're not all about that supernatural shit. I know that's why I separated you into sci-fi and me into fantasy, because I love the spiritual aspect of it. That he is just a specter, a phantom, and that's why you can't find him. I love that aspect of cryptozoology. The reason we can't find them is because they don't exist on this earthly plane. They're like blips. They come in and out.
Like how allegedly he was seen right before Chernobyl went off.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's not photographic proof like there is on the bridge.
Yeah.
But I really like that aspect of him. Who the hell? Who else is there? What did I just say? We have Moth. Oh, Jersey Devil. Yeah, speaking of fantasy, right? Jersey Devil. I am a big fan of the Jersey Devil.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah, you agree?
Wholeheartedly.
He's cool.
Yes.
He's cool. The devil, man. It's
like the story itself. I mean, we can.
I don't even know if I have to read it.
Yeah.
We could just recount it.
Yeah, it's a woman gets cursed because she wanted to have a certain kid or a certain gender, but she was saying all these bad things about like why would I want that? Why would I want that? And she gets cursed. And when she gives birth to this horse with bat wings and devil horns, like goat horns and it bursts out of her, kills her, and she just runs off into the woods in the swamps of New Jersey. It's incredible. It's one of my favorite cryptids and probably one of my favorite found footage films, The Last Broadcast.
Which actually has nothing to do with the Jersey Devil.
Not a damn thing.
No spoilers, though. I know I've already spoiled one movie, but let's not spoil another. It is technically the first found footage film.
Technically.
Even though the Jersey Devil has nothing to do with it. It's there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the concept is there. The Jersey Devil is cool and is honestly probably one of the best pieces of American folklore, because it really is harping on the fear of the devil. Because I might even pull up the Wikipedia article for this. People might be mad. I doubt it, because I feel like that's probably the weakest part of this podcast so far is the reading of the Wikipedia articles. We don't even have to for this one. I don't even think there is a given year. Now, there's probably speculation on when the legend started.
It's folklore, and it's in textbooks in New Jersey talking about
Yeah.
folklore and stuff.
It
There's dates out there.
It
but-
could be 1700s, it could be 1800s. It's not like Mothman where we have real life historical tragedies like the bridge collapse
Yeah.
or with Chernobyl. Like all the sightings happen during real life events that can be traced and
Somebody alive now was alive at that point.
right. And some of them probably survived it or experienced it.
Right.
You know, this is one of those things where it's fun because there isn't a timeline. There's not a given date for when this happened. What's the name of the woman? There's different accounts, and they vary on what was the name of the woman, or even the nature of the Jersey Devil. Is it actually a manifestation of the devil? Was it a deformed child with bat-like wings and a horse-like head? Simply in a real life sense, not to say that's completely implausible. I'm not going to go there, but did a woman have a malformed child? I mean, come on, it's Jersey. It's a few hundred years ago. You know, incest. You know, people getting freaky deaky out in the woods. Your baby comes out all wonky, all Willy Wonky-ish, and it's whatever. I'm not going to say yay or nay on whether I think it's real. But as I've said previously, I just think it's cool, and I think that's all that matters, and it's an important part of American folklore.
You played the Wolf Among Us, right?
I have watched other people play The Wolf Among Us. Is
So-
he in it?
Yeah, the Jersey Devil. He's in it. Do you want to see what he looks like?
Bring him up.
All right.
Bring him up, and I'll see.
We'll give a dialogue
Yeah.
on how it looks. Since
I will
this is an
tell
audio
you-
format.
I will tell you if this is what my headcanon of the Jersey Devil looks like.
What is your headcanon?
It looks like the original news clippings where
Yes.
he's
the flying.
It looks like a horse
Yeah.
Okay.
with bat wings.
What about you?
Same way.
Same way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Willy Wonky-ish. Is that a word?
It's too late to. It's too late.
No, I moving on.
So, in The Wolf Among Us, this is their adaptation of the Jersey Devil. And there are better pictures, but this is him.
That's a Wendigo.
Is it?
That's a literal Wendigo. You're shitting me, man.
This is the Jersey Devil.
That's a Wendigo.
That's a spirit of cannibalism. That is a Native American Wendigo. Look at him.
Yeah, I saw.
You see that?
I saw. This is live. And we're debunking the Jersey Devil and Wolf Among Us.
They don't know what they're talking
They
about.
have no clue what they're talking about. Don't buy that game.
Don't support them. Don't give them. Actually, you don't have to. Did they go under? This is why.
I have that game.
This is why.
Anyway, I think compared to the two, it's very hard, and I want to say that this is a draw.
Okay. This is okay. What if I disagree with you? That's like a two-way draw. Because what if I say I don't think it's going to be a draw? Because we're talking about metaphysical things right now. There's no like the other ones. It's a wizard frog. It's an alien. These are their powers are very undefined by the very nature. Because these accounts vary. People don't really know what they are. Is it a physical being? Is it like a fourth dimensional time traveler like Bigfoot is? We don't know.
So
It's our headcanon of what we think they are.
Mothman can see in the dark. Man can fly. Man flies far. Go to Chicago. Man,
I think he took a Greyhound, but that's just me. Go ahead.
it'd be funny. It'd be funny to the Greyhound bus. But man can allegedly predict tragedies and be there to warn people.
Power of foresight.
On the other hand, you have the Jersey Devil who can fly, probably has satanic ties, which is metal, and can breathe fire.
Can he breathe fire?
Allegedly,
Is that
yes.
part of the lore?
Yes, allegedly so. He could breathe fire.
Allegedly so. He can breathe. I don't remember reading this in my textbooks.
According to the sightings, he also has horns too, so that's another advantage when it comes to him not only being able to fly, but also being able to stabby stab.
Yeah, he has offensive capabilities. What does the Mothman have?
Claws.
Red eyes.
Claws.
Also, think about this. What are moths attracted to?
light.
Light. The Jersey Devil has fire.
All right.
Do you see where this is going?
I concede.
You see what I mean?
I concede.
The Jersey Devil is magic, and that's why this is why I orchestrated it this way. I can't lose. Because he's and to quote myself, and pardon my language, folks, but he's fucking magic. And because of that, he has offensive capabilities both with horns, and he can just burn the wings right off Mothman.
Don't do that to my boy.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to give this one to the Jersey Devil.
All right.
Because I'm stubborn like that. And I don't know. I think he's neat. I think he's going to win. In a real life matchup, if Two Worlds collide and the Jersey Devil ever found himself in Chicago, Mothman's going to have a bad time. The straight up, what up? He's going to have a bad time.
The Chicago Devil.
You know? Maybe there's a reason we can't find them. Maybe they're all holed up in Chicago right now.
Nobody wants to go to Chicago.
They're just stuck in a trap house. Would you ever know? All right, we're on our last. We're on our last two. Okay, this one's fun. I like the Van Meter Visitor and the Snallygaster. I'm actually more unfamiliar with. What do you know? Do you know anything about the Snallygaster?
So it's a lovely, or it is a. So let me correct myself again. What I said earlier, and this is before we've read the article, but it's something that I remembered. It's not quite a Lovecraftian creature. Why I mentioned that is because Lovecraft actually went to go and investigate the accountings, the encounters of this creature. He went out of his way, leaving his house to go look for this creature.
This is all I know about him personally.
Yeah, and we can go into the article about him.
Yeah, I'd say we do. First off, who you choosing? Who you want? This is the first time you're gonna choose fantasy over sci-fi, because ultimately you're familiar with the Van Meter Visitor. He's the you want to talk about Scooby-Doo monsters. He is a pterodactyl that lives in a West Virginia mine. And get this, Willow. He has laser beams for eyes.
Oh my god.
Okay. Let's backtrack. It's not laser beams. They're like spotlights. So they're like these giant spotlight eyes. It's a Scooby-Doo monster. It sounds like the mine, the guy operating the mine, or possibly even the competitor to the mine. This is my theory, my headcanon, to the Van Meter Visitor lore. I think the competitor to this mine saw this competition and was like, that's no good, and dressed up as a giant pterodactyl because he definitely knew what that was. And I think, was it like 1902? Let's pull up the date. Let me
pull up the article.
Yeah, let's go to the facts. Let's go to the source.
You have to go into the laser beam eyes.
Sorry, I got really excited and I jumped the gun. Let me go look it up. Okay, Van Meter Visitor.
What was the other one called?
The Snallygaster.
How do you spell that?
Snally, Gaster, like from Undertale.
Good reference.
Yeah. Okay. You going to Wikipedia?
Yeah, for mine.
Loser. I'm going the cryptid wiki. Look at this. Sorry, audience listening in. You're not gonna be able to see this. Come here, Willow. Look at this.
Oh my god.
Look at that. Look how cool that is, dude. Look at that. Look at that. That's metal.
You remind me of Dracula.
That one picture there.
Yeah.
That lithograph. I think
Is
it's
that
called.
what that's
It's a lithograph, which is
It's like
that style of printing.
Dracula with like a plague doctor kind of mixed together.
Yeah, well, that was an interesting artist rendition of the Van Meter Visitor. That's not normally how he's depicted. He's normally just like a pterodactyl type creature. I'll read it. Are you pulling up the Snallygaster?
I'm trying to, but my dyslexia.
It hasn't been a problem as of yet.
SNALLY
and Gaster from Undertale. Where's this wiki article? Ooh, we're hitting our first snag, maybe?
No, I got mine up.
Because honestly, that'd be the coolest thing if I looked up a cryptid and there wasn't even a Wikipedia article for it. That's how you know we're hitting bottom of the barrel. We're not just scraping the bottom of the barrel. We're under the barrel. We're scraping the ground. Okay. Yeah, I'm having a hard time finding. I'm finding it for Van Meter, Iowa, but I'm not.
I've watched whole videos on this, man. There's no way there's not a cryptid wiki.
Okay, so I was a year off. It was 1903, so 117 years ago.
Almost as old
Quick
as
mouse.
The cabinet
Of Dr. Caligari?
Yeah, almost as old.
That didn't come out in 1903, did it? No, that's 20s. All right, screw it. We're fact checking that now. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Willow, just throw a random number. When do you think it came out?
12.
So the same year the Titanic sank. I'm gonna say 22. We're all wrong. 1920.
My bad.
You need to know your German expressionist films way better, bro. Movies is in the title of the podcast. You need to know your German expressionism. So the Van Meter visitor was said to have paid a visit to the small town of. Oh, I was wrong, dude. It is Iowa. I don't see when I think of cryptids. I think West Virginia. So sorry, folks. It is Van Meter in Iowa. Let's read. The strange events occurred in October of 1903. Several respected members of the community told of a mysterious winged creature that terrorized some of the town's residents during several nights in the course of the week. Descriptions of the beast suggested it had large bat-like wings, left a terrible stench wherever it went, and even stranger, it fired beams of bright light from its forehead.
That's perfect.
This is like a early Stan Lee villain. This is like an old Marvel villain. The bizarre account recalls how several of the locals attempted to shoot the beast, but their gunfire didn't appear to have any effect. Fed up with the menace, a group of townsfolk banded together one evening, pursued the creature to an abandoned coal mine. There, they confronted not one, but two of the beasts, which both turned and disappeared down into the gloom of the mine as the men opened fire, never to be seen again. And right here, there's news clippings. This show it in very vivid detail. These creatures, and it's all right here. It says it. Let's go to trivia. In Atmos Monsters, the Van Meter visitor is depicted as a species of insect-like creature that is most at home soaring in the lower stratosphere. Well, I don't know what Atmos Monsters is. Hold on, I'm curious. What the hell is that? Oh, it's Final Fantasy. That's pretty dope. And I don't use the word dope lightly. I think it's stupid when people say dope. This is dope. All right, so we're going to move on to the Snallygaster, which Slug wants me to read.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yeah.
Sorry. It's so funny to me. You went from Mothman to the Hollow Earth in like the span of like six sentences, man. Like point A to point B. How do you get there? Anyways, Snallygaster. That's what we're talking about. Can I have a sip of your Modelo first?
There's. Go ahead. There's a little bit left.
Oh yeah, there's some spit. I just gotta wet my gullet. Ooh, it's good. In American folklore, the Snallygaster is a bird-like reptile chimera originating in the superstitions of early German immigrants, later combined with sensationalistic newspaper reports of the monster. Do they have to say sensationalistic? Can't they just say sensational? Early sightings associate the Snallygaster with Frederick County, Maryland, especially the areas of South Mountain and the Middletown Valley. Later reports would expand on sightings encompassing an area to include Central Maryland or Maryland. Have you ever heard anyone call it that?
Maryland.
Do people in Maryland call it that?
Merlin.
Merlin? This isn't New Orleans where they call it Nolans. That's not how that works. It also encompasses the Washington, D.C. metro area. I've been to D.C.
Ravens suck.
Huh?
The Ravens suck.
That's your.
We're talking about take on Maryland.
Oh,
Baltimore's in Maryland, Chandler.
I know, but I'm like, What are you talking about? Ravens in Washington D.C. I'm like 1 point to the next. hold on.
The DMC, bro.
Oh my god. Do you have anything to say about Washington D.C.? Because I'm telling you, I haven't seen no Snallygaster there. I saw a guy with a megaphone talking about abortions, but I didn't see anything about no Snallygaster.
One of my favorite new rappers is from there, Rico Nasty. But in terms of music, we're not going to be talking about much about rap. But I recommend her.
That's your plug.
That's my plug.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Plug Slug. Slug's plug.
Slug's plug. There you go.
Slap it on a t-shirt. 18th century. The area of Frederick County was settled by German immigrants beginning in the 1730s. This is very detailed. This is more detailed than like anything we've read so far. So sit tight, folks. We're in for a ride. Early accounts describe the community being terrorized by a monster called the Schneidergeist, meaning quick ghost in German. The earliest incarnations of the creature mixed the half-bird features of a siren, sexy, with the nightmarish features of demons and ghouls.
Sexy.
The Snallygaster. I didn't know I was going to be sexually attracted to the Snallygaster at the end of this list, but here we go. The Snallygaster was described. You got jokes? You might want to keep them to yourself. Let's not sexually assault the Snallygaster or any other cryptids on this podcast. The feds are already listening in. We don't give them more ammo.
It wasn't about that.
Oh, Lord.
Keep going. Stay focused.
The Snallygaster was described as half reptile, half bird, having a metallic beak lined with razor-sharp teeth, occasionally alongside octopus-like tentacles. The Snallygaster was rumored to swoop silently from the sky to pick up and carry off its victims. The earliest stories claim that this monster sucked the blood of its victims. 7-pointed stars, which reputedly kept the Snallygaster at bay, can be seen painted on local barns. 20th century. Newspaper accounts throughout February and March 1909 describe encounters between local residents and a beast with enormous wings, a long pointed bill, claws like steel hooks, and an eye in the center of its forehead. See right here. Here's a caricature of the Snallygaster.
That's cute.
Yeah, it looks like a preschooler did it. It was described as making screeches like a locomotive whistle. A great deal of publicity surrounded the string of appearances, with the Smithsonian Institute always sticking their nose where it don't belong, offering a reward for the hide. U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt reportedly considering postponing an African safari to personally hunt the beast. It was later revealed that these reports were later part of a hoax perpetrated by Middletown Valley Register editor George C. Roderick with an H, and reporter Alf S. Wolf in an attempt to increase readership. The descriptions they invented borrowed themes from existing German folklore, including dragon-like creatures who snatch children and livestock, and also appeared to invoke descriptions of the Jersey Devil, which had been spotted mere weeks earlier. Coincidence? I think not. On June 22nd, 1953, Whittaker Chambers, whose home lies in Carroll County, Maryland, used the Snallygaster to examine U.S. Senator Joseph McCarthy in his essay, "Is Academic Freedom in Danger?" And I quote, "It was a trick of fate in a low comedy mood that Senator McCarthy should first have bounded into public view, dragging the unlikely and protesting person of Mr. Lattimore to share with him a historic spotlight so grateful to the one and so acutely unwanted by the other." That's one sentence. It was a trick of fate that, in the case of each, has led to some serious confusions, for it led to the translation of Senator McCarthy into the symbol of a national Snallygaster, a winged hobgoblin used to frighten naughty children in parts of rural Maryland, instead of one of the two things that he obviously is, an instinctive politician of a kind fairly common in our history, in which case the uproar he inspires is a phenomenon much more arresting than the senator, or a politician of a kind wholly new in our history, in which case he merits the most cautious and cold-blooded appraisal. As you notice, a lot of these aren't actually telling you what these encounters entail.
Yeah.
That's why it's kind of hard to get a read on this creature. It's describing its physical appearance, but as far as what it's capable of, it's difficult. But I'll keep going. 20th century. In 2008, author Patrick Boyton published a history of the snallygaster entitled Snallygaster: The Lost Legend of Frederick County. We're gonna make a movie out of that.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a movie out of that. In 2011, an
Hell
annual
yeah.
beer festival, a beastly beer jamboree called Snallygaster, started in Washington, D.C. In the 2017 edition of J.K. Rowling's Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them incorporated the Snallygaster into her Harry Potter universe. It is described as a part bird, part reptile relative of the Akame, with serrated steel fangs, a bulletproof hide that might prove important in its fight against what's its opponent? Do you remember?
The visitor.
Oh yeah, the pterodactyl. I don't think he's packing. Do you think he's got a Glock hidden
He's
somewhere?
got laser eyes.
But does that mean he's bulletproof? Is that going to save him from lasers?
Yeah.
Lasers
no.
are bullets. They're not.
They're
We'll-
not.
We'll get there. In a natural sense of curiosity. The Snallygaster appears in the 2018 Bethesda game Fallout 76.
Hell yeah.
I actually didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Yeah, they got
No, I didn't know the Snallygasters in there. I know that they had a lot of them.
they had Mothman, they had Flatwoods, they had the Snallygast, they had another one. They had Blob
They had the Blob.
monster from West Virginia. I forget the name of it.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant like the Blob.
No,
It's all the same.
no,
And if
not the
you're-
one with Steve McQueen.
And if you guys are looking for a drink, I swear to God, we're not sponsored. I'm glad you know who Steve McQueen is, Alex. It's real topical.
R.I.P. The greatest teenager, the oldest teenager.
Was he like in his 30s when he did that?
He's totally a teenager, bro.
Oh, he had a Leatherman jacket on.
Oh, yeah.
He had a Leatherman jacket on. He's a teenager.
Yeah, crow's feet, Chandler.
Hey, school is stressful. You know this better than anyone. School is very. No, he didn't. Barely with the fucking class. He barely with the class. Stressful, my ass. The Snallygaster is a blended whiskey produced by Dragon Distillery of Frederick, Maryland, and released in 2018. And if you are also hungry for some dairy products, South Mountain Creamery, a dairy farm located in Frederick County, Maryland, produces an ice cream flavor named Snallygaster. Not sponsored. It consists of peanut butter flavored ice cream with caramel swirl, peanut butter cups, and pretzels. A Snallygaster hunt features prominently in season 5, episode 4 of the Hallmark Channel show Chesapeake Shores. In 2021, Sarah Cooper, a cryptozoologist in Maryland, opened the American Snallygaster Museum in Libertytown, Maryland. I know where we're going.
I know where we're going.
And it's not back to the Bigfoot Museum. It's to the Snallygaster Museum.
Mm-hmm.
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 I'm kind of surprised how many places it shows up outside of its respective lore. Because, like, the other articles it doesn't show up anywhere else except, like, Fallout 76. That's it.
The Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, surprisingly, it got around quite a bit. Let's take a look. I don't think the bulletproof hide is gonna come in clutch with this one. All right, Van Meter Visitor versus Snallygaster. Who you rooting for?
My boy.
Who is your boy?
The pterodactyl, man. The pterodactyl is a fucking prowler of the night. The laser eyes has the metal beak. Had the huge wingspan. Yes, they trap themselves in the mine by going in the mine. But I think that the pterodactyl with laser eyes is gonna beat the snaggletooth, who just I got a bulletproof vest on. Ooh.
You're forgetting a crucial detail here
Mm-hmm.
that gives you an advantage over the Snallygaster.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah.
They're ganging up on this man.
There's 2 of these mans.
They're gonna jump him. There's 2 of them.
Yeah.
Does this strike you as familiar? Have you seen this plot in a movie? Rodan.
Yeah.
This is the plot of Rodan. There's 2 winged creatures in a mine. I'm just saying, I don't know whether Toho stole our folklore because theirs aren't good enough.
I don't know. They got some pretty good ones.
It's really, remember that movie we watched? That black and white one with all the yokai
Yeah.
was one of the best movies I've seen in a long
It
time.
wasn't even in English. The Kappa was my favorite.
Of course, he was a chill dude. Just like you. He was a chill dude. Bay Meter Visitor, Stanley Gaster.
Visitor.
You rest your case?
I rest my case.
I might concede to you on this one because the Snallygaster, of all that reading, I was not able to conclude its true nature. I don't know what it wants. Now, granted, for most of these, I don't know what the hell they want either, but they're more defined. This one, again, is one of those, I don't really know what it is. It's a dragon, kind of like creature.
I would say it's a dragon. Because it comes from German folklore saying they take a lot of inspiration from the dragons.
Right, and it steals children. So it's a freak.
It's like a Krampus dragon.
It's a Krampus dragon, which is really cool. It's cool, but does that mean it's going to win in a fight?
No.
No. Van Meter Visitor is going to get this one. This is our lineup.
Go.
This is it. We have finished the 1v1 matchup between all the cryptids that we have selected, which are, do you remember our victors?
The Loveland Frog.
Good.
The Dover Demon. The Visitor.
No, you're missing one.
I know. The Visitor and the New Jersey Devil.
Yeah. So Loveland Frog, Dover Demon, Jersey Devil, Van Meter Visitor.
Magic, science, magic, science.
This is pretty cool how that worked out. The symmetry of that, I could have pre-planned. I could pre-plan the science versus fantasy aspect. I could not plan that this is how it would turn out. So again, it is still consistently science versus magic. And we'll find out next episode who will be the victor between all of them.
We haven't figured out the schedule just yet, but we want to be pumping these out. Might be longer, might be shorter. Most likely going to be longer. Once when we get into other topics like movies or music. But at the moment, it's been a pleasure. I'm Slug, and the host of the podcast
is the Big Sauce Daddy, the Big Bad Berry Boy, coming at you live again, Chandler Allen Berry. Don't forget to check me out on Chan Nation Station. See you soon. Thanks for dropping on by.
Peace.